Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning, former Police Federation chairman granted leave to challenge some rules of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for Corporal Rohan James, former chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, to challenge the rules of the Jamaica Constabulary Force that he claims unconstitutionally restrict officers' rights to freedom of expression. On Thursday, Justice Trisha Hutchinson Shelley granted Corporal James the permission to amend his case to include broad constitutional claims against the several force orders of the JCF and a section of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Act, which he argues violates the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. The specific statute is Section 72 of the Constabulary Force Act, which bars the members from publishing or communicating any matter related to their duties with the Police Federation without the consent of the Police Commissioner. Corporal James is contesting his interdiction and the disciplinary charges stemming from statements he made at the July 15, 2023 funeral of a colleague, which were critical of the JCF's leadership. The JCF contended that his comments breached the force orders and brought the constabulary into disrepute. In his original claim, the former Police Federation chairman alleged that the disciplinary action against him violated his constitutional rights to freedom of expression, thought, conscience, and belief. Deputy Commissioner of Police Andrew Lewis and the former police chief, retired Major General Anthony Anderson, are the respondents in the matter. Thursday's ruling allows the Corporal James to not only plead additional breaches under Jamaica's Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms, but to add the Attorney General as a party to the case, given the challenge to the Constabulary Force Act. The matter is set for hearing before the full court on January 11 and 12, 2027, with a pre-trial review scheduled for January 12, 2026. The court also granted the respondents a leave to appeal the orders. St. Anne Police threatening traffic management plans for the holidays. The St. Anne Police have promised that steps will be taken to manage traffic between Priory and Discovery Bay to prevent a gridlock over the Emancipation and Independence holidays. The parish prepares for increased traffic due to entertainment events over the holiday period. Deputy Superintendent Rohan Elliott, acting commanding officer for the St. Anne Police Division, said the Public Safety and the Traffic Enforcement Branch will be providing the required support. The SP Elliott is urging motorists to exercise caution on the roadway between Prairie and the Discovery Bay to prevent crashes. The parish has recorded 28 fatalities so far this year, compared with 27 for the similar period last year.
St. Anne has now become the party capital of Jamaica, especially the venue in Richmond. And based on the location of that venue, we find that persons traveling from Kingston and from other sections of the eastern side of the country will tend to converge at the roundabout at Miami Bay, this resulting in a bottleneck. So we have, as a part of our plan, a deployment from Eastel, usually a 1x20, supported by our local traffic personnel, who will, from Miami Bay to Richmond, man all the traffic points, all those points that have a stoplight, all those points that will create a backlog of traffic in order to ease the misery of the commuting public. What we recognize as well is even as if members of the commuting public are falling asleep while driving based on our assessment, and they would tend to swerve to the other lane, and we have head-on collisions. Just recently we had a collision which resulted in 3 deaths. All right, so we want to encourage you to remain safe, and we have decided to put in place, based on our operational plan, police personnel working along with our stakeholders from the Island Traffic Authority and the Transport Authority along that stretch in order to enforce the violations of the Road Traffic Act.
Advocate wants sports added to human trafficking laws. A proposal for the addition of a sports layer to existing human trafficking laws received support from one of the island's top track and field coaches, who also advocated that the issue be added to the curriculum at the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport. Then Gordon Harrison, the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons and the Children's Advocate, raised the matter at a forum titled Unmasking the Game, a look at human trafficking in sports, held at the Princess Grand Jamaica Resort in Hanover last Thursday. What we are seeing is that because Jamaica has so many sporting activities that we are involved in, so many athletes, so many children who are waiting to become discovered at the next big thing, we're seeing that we need to be aware that there is something called sports trafficking to ensure that our children and young people don't fall prey to it, because the risk factors are there for us as a country, Gordon Harrison argued. The Trafficking in Persons Prevention, Suppression and Punishment Act of 2007 is designed to combat human trafficking by providing measures for prevention, suppression, and the punishment of the crime. While the framework allows for anyone in Jamaica to be prosecuted for human trafficking if the evidence points in that direction and to be held accountable, Thursday's discussion by stakeholders was focused on building the definition for trafficking to have sports specifically mentioned. We want that recognition more for the victims' protection and to have different associations and the stakeholders understand that because it is now a legislatively recognized form of trafficking, we now have to be proactive in our systems and the safeguarding rules that we come up with and so on. So we're more looking at it from the victim's perspective and the preventative perspective, Gordon Harrison told the news on the sidelines of the forum. Chief Technical Director in the Ministry of National Security with responsibility for law enforcement, Michael Morgan, agreed with Gordon Harrison and suggested that the legislation be looked at to determine if there is a gap and have it addressed. In that regard, sometimes you have to make exceptions and you might want to penalize something specifically because of the significance of it. That's a conversation that we need to have, and that's a conversation that we're going to have coming out of Thursday's event. But with the framework as it is now, the definition of human trafficking is so broad that even if someone was trafficked for sports, the person could still be penalized under our existing legislative framework, Morgan told the news. Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association President David Riley said he wants trafficking in sports added to the G.C. Foster College curriculum. Currently, track and field coaches have to undergo level 1 to 3 certification. The course has a module called the Safeguarding, which speaks about abuse and the misuse of sports. From my understanding of the definition of trafficking, there is no mention in the module of trafficking, and I think that would be one of the appropriate places within the curriculum where it could be included. So expanding the safeguarding to include elements of trafficking and the awareness of trafficking would be one of the fixes for the gap that exists within the certification system, argued Riley. He said that in addition to certification, coaches would have to license the practice, and that would then form the basis for their license to be renewed and for us to conform to the international standards and based on whatever treaties we've signed and so on. So it's definitely an opportunity for us to make those changes. Gordon Harrison agreed. I think that it is an excellent idea, she said, adding that one of the stakeholders who had been invited to join the conversation was among the leadership of G.C. Foster College because a lot of the island's coaching professionals and other sports administrators attended the institution. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.